Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wavy Pod. My name's Lucia, and I'm your host. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking all about confidence. Have you ever seen one of those people that whenever they just walk into a room, you can breathe their confidence? You can see their confidence just radiate from them. You look at them and you're like, this person eats, breathes, and sweats confidence. They just exude this confidence that's unexplainable in a way. Confidence gets you a lot in this life. Confidence can literally change your life from point A to point B. Confidence can help you become your best self faster. Confidence will get you that promotion. Confidence will get you that friend. Confidence will help you get that job or get that degree or pass that exam. Even when it comes to exams, confidence will help you pass that exam, because the moment that you're taking an exam and you get nervous and you feel that you're not competent enough to pass that exam, that is going to show, that is going to portray into that exam, even if you know the answers. And that's literally happened to me over and over and over and over again, to the point where I would have exam anxiety and I would reconsider all of my answers and then realize that I got all of the answers wrong, but they were originally right. So just because of the fact that I changed my answers, now that was completely wrong. And that was all because of my confidence, because I didn't believe in myself, because I was super shy. I was a super introvert, and I'm still a little bit of an introvert, but being an introvert has nothing to do with your confidence. And a lot of people confuse that. A lot of people confuse that because you think that the person who's the loudest in the room is the person with the most confidence, and that is absolutely not true. Most of the time, the person who's the loudest is trying to overcompensate or trying to compensate their lack of confidence by being the loudest, by being the biggest. And that is a technique to help you be more confident. If we're talking about physical confidence, that is one of the ways that is going to help you to be more confident. So if you're in a social setting, by being the loudest, by being big, by presenting yourself with good posture, with good mannerisms, with good language, making eye contact, all of those things are physical things that you can do to appear more confident. But that is not the type of confidence that we're going to be talking about today, because that type of confidence it is part of it in social settings, but the work that you need to become confident comes from within. Okay, and it's tough. It takes a lot of hard work in order for you to get there, but it's not impossible. It's super doable. It just takes work. Throughout the years, I've learned the meaning and the techniques that are required in order for you to be your most confident self. If you were to ask anyone that knew me years ago, 2, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they would tell you that I was such a shy person who wasn't confident, who wouldn't speak her mind. It was obvious that I did not have the confidence required to do anything. And confidence is so important because it changes your livelihood. It changes where you're at. It elevates your life to the next level, because without confidence, it's going to be nearly impossible for you to get there. This is going to be your blueprint for you to be your most confident self, for you to be your most confident version. So take notes, take out a piece of paper. We're going to write it down. And at the end of this episode, I'm also going to be giving you journal prompts that you can write down to help you be more confident, along with all of these tips that I'm going to be giving you. Journaling is one of my favorite types of therapies, and journaling has been a true game changer for me in my life. It's been the one thing that has made me go after my dreams, to live my dream life. Like, I could honestly say that I am truly living at my highest potential and that I'm doing what I love every single day. And I think journaling has been a huge part of this. So I'm a big believer of journaling. I'm a big believer of questioning yourself through writing and getting to know yourself through the art of writing. And so at the end of this episode, I'm going to leave you guys with a few journal prompts for you to answer. I love these journal prompts. They're freaking amazing. So stay till the end so you don't miss them, because they are life-changing. They will change your confidence. I can 100% guarantee the second you start answering these questions, you're going to be like, wow, I cannot believe that comes from me. I cannot believe I wrote these things. I cannot believe I never asked myself these questions. Okay, so stay till the end just for those journal prompts. But let's talk about confidence. Okay, first of all, whatever your beliefs are, That is your reality. Okay? And that's the most important thing to take note. If you believe you're not worthy of a better job, that is going to be your reality. You are not worthy for a better job because you're telling yourself that, you're telling the universe that, you're telling everyone around you that. And your beliefs are narratives that you've been telling yourself your entire life, or that potentially somebody else told you something about yourself and you made it your new narrative. You made it your reality. You let that person decide something about you, and you gave that person so much importance that it became your reality, and you allowed that to be your truth. Now, you have that control to change that narrative. You have the control to create a new narrative for yourself. And you have the control to act upon that new narrative that is the new you. So if you want to change something, you have the control to change it. We have the control of changing all of those narratives. Okay, tip number 1. We're going to stop attaching ourselves to superficial things and things we cannot control. For example, if you attach yourself to a car because you think that that car is going to give you that confidence boost that you need to feel your best, and people are going to be looking up to you, and you're going to be getting a bunch of girls, or vice versa, and you think that this is the one thing that it's going to make you worth more, you're attaching your worth, your self-worth, to that car, to that physical thing. So the second you lose that, the second something happens to that, you have no self-worth. You believe that your self-worth is that. And the second you lose that, what happens to you? And so your self-worth should never be attached to anything. Your self-worth should never be attached to another person, to a thing, to superficial things. Your self-worth should never be attached to how pretty you are, or how beautiful your hair is, or how smart you are, or how many followers you have in social media. Like, those are all superficial things, and those superficial things are not you. Those superficial things are things that you have, that happen to you, that you were born with, but those are things you can't control. Okay, so we stop attaching ourselves to those things because we literally are two completely separate beings from our physical reality. You are you at your essence, at your core, and you happen to have those things. So you can't attach your confidence and your self-worth to those things. You cannot. The second that you stop attaching your confidence and your self-worth to those things, that's when you're going to not let those things control you. That's when you're going to have this confidence that comes out from you, from within, at the service of others. Because when we speak from the heart, when we do actions, when we take action from being at service to others, you start learning more about yourself. You start getting to know yourself at that level. And that brings you more and more confidence. Knowing yourself to your core gives you that confidence to know who you are, that nobody can take away from you. And that essentially means that you're detaching yourself from your ego. You're not letting your ego control you. When your ego controls you, those things matter. The followers matter, the cars matter, the money matters. All those superficial things and things you cannot control matter. And when your ego's speaking, your ego wants you to be at an extreme, whether that's positive or negative. When your ego's speaking, your ego's telling you, you are the most intelligent person in this room, and so you're worth more than everybody else. Or everybody around you is so much prettier than you. And that's your ego speaking. When you stop validating the ego, you start talking from the heart. You start talking from within. Tip number 2, action leads to confidence. You're not going to get that confidence that you need and that you want to have without action. Like, your confidence is not going to appear out of nowhere and be like, hi, we're confident now, babe. Like, no, confidence is going to come with action. Once you start doing something over and over and over and over again, that's how you get confident. For example, if you go to the gym, the first time you're going to go to the gym, you're not going to feel confident at all. The first time you go to the gym, you're going to feel so shy, so like, I don't know what I'm doing, so not confident with what you're doing. So you're going to doubt yourself. You're not going to know what to do. You're going to look it up on YouTube and be like, what do I do? And the second time is going to be a little bit less. The third time is going to be a little bit less, until little by little you gain more and more confidence because you're doing it over and over and over and over again. That's how you get your confidence with anything. Absolutely anything. With dating. The first time you go on a date, you're not going to feel confident. The second time, you're going to be like, oh my God, I am a pro at dating. I feel so confident when I go to dates. I already know what to say, what to do, blah, 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 blah. Okay? At your job, the first day on the job, you're going to be like, okay, I'm not really sure about this. I'm not that confident with this because the way I've done things before are so much different than this. But 3 months later, you're going to be so confident with what you do. And sometimes when you don't feel confident, you feel that you don't deserve to be there. You feel that you should not be there because you're not confident with what you're doing, because you can't do that thing well. But it's the complete opposite. The fact that you're there and you're feeling uncomfortable and you're willing to try something new, because we should all be trying new things, it's telling you that you are in a growth period. It's telling you that you are so courageous to do this new thing. You are willing to go through the discomfort of this thing, that you have this courage to do hard things. You have this power to do hard things, and that gives you confidence. Okay, if you would have chosen to stay home and not do that hard thing because you were gonna feel so not confident, and you were gonna feel very uncomfortable and just not nice feelings because it's something that you've never done before, then you would have felt so much worse about yourself. And that would have contributed to your low self-esteem. That would have contributed to you not feeling confident. And it's feeding that. It's feeding that part of your ego that doesn't feel confident, that doesn't want to feel confident, because you are choosing to stay home and not go grow and not go through that growth phase. And the second that you choose yourself first, to do it scared, to do it hard, to do it uncomfortably, that's when the growth happens. And that's when little by little your confidence is going to come up. Like that first day that you go through that uncomfortable thing, you're going to feel so much more confident than before. You're going to be like, oh my God, I can do hard things. If I was able to go through that uncomfortable thing, I can do anything. I can do anything. And that's how you should be taking life decisions. If you're taking life decisions from fear and you're following that fear and to see where that fear is taking you, then you're going the wrong way. If you're telling fear, like, step back, I'm in control, I am choosing where to go regardless of you, that's when you take control of your life and it starts building your confidence up. Okay, so that's the next tip. The next tip is that the key to confidence is action. Okay, so for our next tip, our previous tip was that the key to confidence was to take action, right? Okay, our next tip is going to be a very cliche one, and I'm sure you've heard of this over and over again, but I do want you to hear it one more time, because I think it's really important to embrace this type of being, because it's going to get you incredible opportunities and incredible things, okay? And that next tip is to be delusional, be delulu, be super delusional, and literally fake it till you make it, as they say. They always say that, and I do agree with that. I do agree that you should be faking it till you make it. You should be reminding yourself every single day of what your goals are, so that the rest of your day pans out in accordance to your goals, and remind yourself of what you need to act as every single day, so that you are in that frequency of your best self. You are in that frequency of your dreams. You are in that frequency of who you want to be. So all you got to do is take your physical body there, because your mind was already there. Your mind is already that person, but you just have to take your physical body there, and getting there is going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to be so much faster because your mind was already there. Being delusional, it's only going to elevate you to that higher level where you're supposed to be to begin with. But sometimes our imposter syndrome limits us from where we're supposed to be. Sometimes our imposter syndrome's like, no, I don't really deserve that race. I don't really deserve to be at that university. I don't really deserve that because I'm not that good, because I'm not that great. I'm not that smart. I don't have the skills. I don't have the extracurricular. I don't have the career. I don't have the I don't have it. It just comes from a scarcity mindset. It just comes from the lack mentality of not having things. And sometimes when you're delusional, you get things just by chance. You get things just by luck. You get things because you were meant to get them. There are several reasons as to why you would get something that you didn't think you would get. And you just have to put yourself out there and be willing to go through that in order for the universe to bless you with whatever it is you're ready for. Because if you didn't have the opportunity right in front of you, it means that you're not ready. But because you threw yourself out there and that opportunity caught on to you, that means you were ready for that. That means you should be taking it. So if you don't think that you're capable enough of going through a specific something that makes you feel that imposter syndrome, that makes you feel like you don't belong there, that you shouldn't be there, throw yourself into that level, into that frequency to tell the universe, I'm ready. Like, give it to me, or give it to me whenever you think I'll be ready. And that's the meaning of delusional. Like, be delusional means be crazy enough to think that, like, oh my God, I'm not going to get that, but let's just try it out. And then boom, you get it. You know, imagine if you didn't try to begin with, like, you wouldn't have that thing. But because you're trying, you're constantly following your delusional instinct, you're getting all these things. And that's essentially also part of like the lucky girl syndrome. Like, everything works out in my favor. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. The more that you tell the universe that you're this lucky person, this delusional person who can get the whole entire world, you get more of those blessings. You get more of those things. So it's just a matter of telling the universe, hey, I'm ready. I'm putting myself out there. I'm willing to do the hard work. I'm willing to do the action, and I'm willing to do everything that's required for me to get to that dream. You're already opening yourself up to all of these opportunities that you wouldn't even have to begin with if you didn't try. That's why it's so crucial to just go for it. Okay. For our next tip is going to be a little bit controversial. Our next tip is going to be for you to reorganize and reteach the algorithm on social media new things that you're going to see every single day. Okay? That is super important because the things that you see every single day are the things that your mind is little by little learning and rewiring and making them your reality and making it like, hey, just so you know, this girl who looks like this is the beauty standard, and you don't look like this girl, so therefore you're not pretty. In my opinion, I think you should be following people that inspire you, that make you feel that you want to go get after your dreams, that make you feel just a better person, like a breath of fresh air. You don't want to be following people that make you feel icky, that make you feel like you're comparing yourself too much, that make you feel that you're not beautiful. But there's a huge but here. Never go into victim mentality, and always take into consideration that there is always going to be someone who's prettier than you and someone who's less pretty than you. There's always going to be someone who's smarter than you and someone who's less smart than you. There's always going to be someone who has more money than you and someone who has less money than you. Okay? Like, you cannot compare yourself to absolutely anybody else because you are not them. They are not you. You don't have the same life as they do. Nothing about your life will ever compare to somebody else's. Even if you have a twin and you guys look exactly the same, you will never compare to each other. So comparison is always going to happen. But you need to be mindful that your life is never going to compare to somebody else's. And instead of looking at comparison as something bad, you could look at it as something useful. You could look at it as like, okay, what do I like about this person why am I comparing myself so much to this person? What is it about their life that I want? And then potentially just think about it in a very analytical way. Like, okay, I'm comparing myself because I like this specific thing about this person. And potentially if it's something that you can control, you can work towards getting that specific thing. But very detached from it. And not going into the victim mentality. Okay? If it's something you cannot control, forget about it. That's it. That's it. You can't control it. What are you going to do? Feeling bad about it is not going to fix it. Feeling bad about it is not going to make it better. Feeling bad about it is not going to get you that thing. Feeling bad about it is just feeding into victim mentality, and that doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help you. That doesn't make you progress. That doesn't make it help you grow. It does nothing. It just makes you feel bad. That's it. I'm actually a believer that you should be blocking and hiding and removing people that don't make you feel good online, and in the sense that you should be following things that inspire you and make you feel good, but always with the mindset that no one is better than you and no one's less than you. You are you. Your experiences and things that you have and things that happen to you don't make you a better person, and they don't make you less of a person than somebody else. Like, there is no comparison, and everything is subjective. Beauty is subjective. The amount of followers that you have is subjective. The amount of money that you have is subjective. Everything is subjective, and it really just depends on the person that's looking at it, on the viewer, on the person that's experiencing those things, whether that's you or somebody else. You could potentially be the most beautiful person in the planet to this person, to this other person. You know, people could die to have your hair, and you're over here hating your hair. People would love to have your nose, and you're over here like, I hate my nose. And these are physical things that should be detached from you, should be detached from your confidence and your essence. And whether someone likes or dislikes something about you doesn't matter, because that's not who you really are. It's something that you have, that you were born with, but that's out of your control. So it's all subjective. Now for our next tip. It's something very simple, but super, super, super important and crucial. Something that changes your mind a lot is to be grateful and to always be in a state of gratitude. When you are not grateful for the things that you currently have, you are teaching your mind to think in a scarcity mindset. And that will cause you to constantly be looking at things that are wrong and miss everything that is right, miss everything that is good, miss everything that is beautiful, because you're so focused on what you're lacking, what you don't have, what you're missing. So you don't have enough mental capacity to look at the things that are beautiful in your life that you do have. This is why reminding of all the things that you should be grateful for put you in a mindset and put you in a state of, you are so lucky. Again, this is where the lucky girl syndrome comes along. That in turn will bring more luck into your life and keep boosting your confidence, keep boosting your self-worth, because you have everything that you need. The next tip that we have, and this tip is super duper important as well. I think all of the tips are important. Every single tip that I've told you so far is super duper important. So every single time I say something, I'm like, this one's super important and this one's super important. Okay, this one's also very important and probably equally important as the other ones. Potentially the one that I would say it's like the core and the key of confidence is action. And I guess this last tip goes hand in hand with action as well. And that is to keep the promises that you make to yourself. The more you keep the promises that you tell to yourself, the more confident you will be in yourself, the more you will trust yourself, because you're capable of doing the things that you're telling yourself you will do. Imagine if you were making these promises to your friend that you were going to do something, but you keep failing them and you keep not going through with them and you keep not showing up and you keep making these promises. I promise I will do this and that and blah, 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 blah. But you don't come through and you don't keep the promises that you're making to your friend. Your friend's going to be like, you're a terrible freaking friend. Like, I don't trust you anymore. I don't trust you at all. And that's what you're doing to yourself every single time you don't go through with whatever you said you were going to do. You are making yourself less trustworthy. And that in turn makes you less confident in yourself. So if you keep telling yourself, I'm going to wake up early tomorrow, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to eat healthy and blah, 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 blah. And then you don't do those things. You're like, yeah, of course, I can't trust myself. I don't trust myself at all. And that makes you less confident. You literally can't trust yourself. But if you keep the promises, even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's something you really don't want to do, but you know you have to because you're telling yourself you should do them, right? You're promising yourself you're going to do them. It's because your inner core wants you to do that. You actually really want to do them, but your physical body's like, no, let's not do it. Let's be comfortable. Let's just stay right here and be safe and not grow. And that just loses that just makes you lose your confidence, but the more you keep the promises that you're telling yourself you're going to do, the more confident you will become in yourself, the more you will trust yourself. And I just remember myself just 5 years ago in this like victim mentality, just hating my job, hating my body, hating everything about myself, just not liking who I was. And at the end of the day, I recognized and I realized that I was the one to blame. I was the one who was not taking care of herself. I was the one who decided to get that career and that job. I was the one who made all of those decisions and all of those choices. And every time I told myself I would do something, I wouldn't go through with it. And that would make me less and less confident. And sometimes you say that you just lost your confidence because at one period or at one time in your life and at one point in your life, you were confident and then you just like essentially lost it, quote unquote, lost it. And you actually didn't lose it. You just stopped doing the things that you were telling yourself you were going to do. You stopped taking care of yourself. You stopped looking out for yourself. You stopped trusting yourself. That is why action is so important when it comes to confidence. You can't just lose yourself. You have to put yourself first over what your physical body is telling you to do, over what feels comfortable, over what feels natural in that moment, because your body wants to be safe. Your body doesn't want you to go through that growth uncomfortable phase. And so if you do it regardless of all of those things, you will be your most confident self, the most confident version of you. Okay? And I'm so excited for you guys to try these things. I can't wait for you guys to be your most confident selves, the most confident version of yourselves, because you are all capable of this. You are all capable of being these amazing people who are just confident in their craft, confident in what they do, confident with what they do every single day, confident in the decisions they make, being delusional, throwing themselves out there to get the things that they want to be getting to live their dream life. And now let's go over the journal prompts that I told you about at the beginning. These are journal prompts that I asked myself a few years ago. And whenever I don't feel too confident in myself that day, I will just answer these questions over again to remind myself of who I am, to remind myself of how confident I actually am, and to remind myself the type of energy that I want to be having that specific day because I'm not feeling that confident. And we're all gonna go through phases. Like sometimes you're gonna feel so confident and then out of nowhere you're like, okay, I'm not feeling that confident anymore. And then boom, follow these tips and you're gonna get back on track. The first journal prompt that I'm gonna be giving you is, imagine you have your number one fan right in front of you. How would this person describe you? Okay, that's number one. I'm going to repeat every single journal prompt twice, and I have 6 of them. You can either answer all of them, you can answer 1 or 2, whatever it is. But again, number 1, imagine you have your number one fan right in front of you. How would this person describe you? Number 2, what does your most confident self look like? What does your most confident self look like? Number 3, what gifts do you have that could help you be of service to others? Number 3, again, what gifts do you have that could help you be of service to others? Number 4, what about yourself makes you the most proud and why? What about yourself makes you the most proud and why? Number 5, what is one value you have and why is this important to you? Number 5, again, what is one value you have and why is this important to you? And the last one, number 6, if 15-year-old you was looking at the you from today, what would she say? If 15-year-old you was looking at the you from today, what would she say? And that is the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And before we end this episode, I wanted to ask you guys to please leave a review on wherever it is that you listen to this podcast, whether that's Spotify, Apple, wherever. Just leave me a review as soon as you're done with this episode so that you don't forget. But that will help me a ton so I can continue making these episodes for you guys. I adore making these episodes for you guys. It makes me the happiest person alive, and I hope you're enjoying them as well. And I do want to hear your feedback. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you like. I want to know what you don't like. Anything. Just let me know what you guys think. And you can also DM me on Instagram if you have any questions, if you want to tell me something, if you want to share any stories, if you have anything at all that you want to tell me, if you have any suggestions for the podcast or for any new episodes, you can just send me a DM. There's also an option on Spotify where you can record a voice memo or like a voice message to the host of the podcast. So if you guys want to leave me any voice messages, I would love to hear them. If you have any questions that you want to leave through the voice messages, you can also record those and I will answer those questions on the podcast as well. If you made it all the way till the end of this podcast episode, comment the word wavy, WAVY on my last post on Instagram so that I know that you made it all the way till the end of this episode. I hope that you're having a beautiful morning, afternoon, night, whenever it is that you're listening to this. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.